Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Dion's Daily Dose. So, first of all, before I get started, trying to support local businesses, and today's lucky recipient was Industrial Revolution, which I actually had a meet and greet at, and the food is just awesome. I love the concept. I love the food. Yeah, a lot of food for the price. Uh, Absolutely delicious. So that's what we had for dinner. I actually just finished. I'm normally not one for spicy food, so you'll have to excuse me. I got a little bit of milk there to take off the edge. Quite a few jalapenos on. I had the sample burgers. It's like a platter with multiple different little mini burgers on it. It's really really good. And while we were out that way, we stopped by Manic Meadery, and the, uh, what kind did you get?
I got two kinds.
She got two kinds of
I got a
drink,
mead and a cider.
a mead and a cider.
I
Uh,
got Elliot
Elliot for the mead,
and
and
Traverse Cherry for the cider.
Traverse Cherry for
Thank
the
you,
cider.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul. She said
It's in the fridge chilling.
it's in the fridge chilling. So we're gonna start with why vote for me versus some of the other Republicans, right? Even if, I'm sorry. So Dave asks, who's on the chair, right? Behind me is
Yeah.
it's one of our three cats. He is massive. His name is Reverse, and his name is Reverse because when he was a baby, he would back out of a room. Whenever he would see a human, he would back up. He wouldn't walk forward. He would walk backwards. So we called him Reverse. He, as you can, I don't know if you can kind of see, he's huge, and he's just kind of say, Reverse. What are you doing, dude? Do you have to be there? Do you have to be there right now? Fair enough. Um. Anyway, so this election, right? We have the opportunity to have a different, right? A different choice than we've always had before. Regardless of how you feel about Pete Visclosky, he is retiring. He is not seeking reelection, and he has come out and endorsed a Democrat, as we figured he would, of course. So here's the real question, and that is, okay, if we want to turn this district red, right, it's going to take the right candidate, because it's referred to as a D+8 district. That means there is a significant number, percentage points wise, between the Democrat and the Republican voting blocks. Now, I don't think it's that big of a difference anymore. He's fine. Let me just leave him. As compared to the way it's been in the past, we've seen that every year that goes by, it comes down a little bit as far as the disparity, right? So let's talk about who we have on the Republican side and why I believe that I could actually win the district for us and for you. So for those of you not familiar with everyone that's running as a Republican in the in the primary, I'll throw the names out real quick. We have Bill Powers, Mark Leva, Delano Scaife, Mont Handley, and Spencer Lemons, right? And of course, me, Dion Bergeron. So I want to go on record and say that I don't think any of the Republicans are bad people. A lot of times the political game, right? People start talking about, oh, he's a bad person and he's done this and he's done that. Now there are a few on the left that I could point to, but we won't go there yet. We'll save that for the general. So Bill Powers, who I personally would like to sit down with and have a conversation, is 83 years old. He joined the Air Force before it was the Air Force. It was the Army Air Corps. And he doesn't have a website, a social media page. Last I checked, he didn't even have a smartphone. And that's fine. That's his choice. Good for him. Unfortunately, in order to represent all the people, including the younger generation, you have to be on social media. You have to be online. That's one thing I believe that separates me from most of the other representatives is I'm online. I'm easily reachable. I answer all of my social media very quickly. I think that's necessary, right? So Bill Powers, I don't believe that this is the right position for him. Moving on, Mark Leva. So Mark has run almost as long as our guy Pete has been around. Not quite that long, but he has run quite a bit. Almost every election for the last 12 elections he's run. And had his numbers steadily gone up, I would have said, well, maybe. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It fluctuates wildly, and he has lost the Republican Party completely. They will not support him at all. There's a difference between being owned by the party and the party refusing to support you. Let's be very, very clear. The Republican Party of Indiana has specifically stated that it doesn't matter to them if Mark Leva wins the primary. They're not going to put forth any effort or money towards helping him. And there's a lot of reasons for this. I don't have anything to do with any of them. I do know that I have followed him on Facebook, and I have seen the types of posts that he puts out. I've also noticed that he has failed to come to any of the forums that we've had. He has demands for the debates before he will deign to show up. That's an issue to me, because how are you supposed to get to know how someone is going to represent you unless you can see them in action, right? Unless you can see them talk and interact, right, with other people. So that gets us to Delano. Delano Scaife was on my live stream at one point, and he again, most of these people seem like really good guys. I just don't believe that he's the right representative for us, because I want someone who knows they're a Republican. I know that I'm a Republican. He didn't come to the Republican Party, I believe, because he actually wanted to be a Republican. He came because he was tossed to the side. In 2018, he ran as a member of the Democratic Party. So that's still kind of an issue for me. Put some time in, do some stuff for the party that you say you're a part of now, and we'll go from there. Mont again seems all right, but he wouldn't come on the show at all. He is not a very strong public speaker. That's going to be an issue in the actual House of Congress, I believe. And he is very, very pro-business. I don't believe that he's pro-labor enough to carry the vote in Northwest Indiana, and that kind of goes into Spencer as well. Both Mont and Spencer are pro right to work. So we'll talk a little bit about right to work. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, because for those who are against right to work, you know what it is, you know what it's about. I'm going to show you an article that was written. It's more of a national article right if it was passed on a national, but it does still apply to Indiana here, and that's what we're doing. We're going on a national level, right? U.S. Congress, there's talk of passing a national right to work legislation. So this is from AmericanProgressAction.org, and like I always do, I'm going to share the article with you, but there's one thing in particular that I want to show you, and again, it leads to a flawed understanding of right to work. The name right to work is a lie. The federal government already protects workers' freedom not to join a union. Workers can decide to opt out of membership at a unionized workplace and pay a reduced fee that covers the costs the union pays to negotiate for wages and benefits and represent an employee if they have a problem at work. Opponents of unions frequently claim that workers who decline to join a union are still legally required to support that union's political activities. In reality, however, these fees exclude the cost of political activities. What the federal right to work law would really do is give some workers a free ride. Anti-unions opt out of paying any fees to a union, even though unions would still be legally required to represent them. That's the issue that I have. I don't know why it's bringing up the Twitter symbol when I have that selected, but whatever. So the issue, again, is it gives some workers a free ride. Non-member employees receives higher wages and benefits negotiated by a union without paying the cost of negotiating for these improvements, and those who encounter problems at work would receive free representation by the union. And by allowing some workers a free ride, the law would inhibit workers who want to come together in unions from getting enough power to negotiate on even footing with employers for better wages, benefits, and work conditions. So, unfortunately, there's more in the article, and I find it very interesting. But just remember, this is what I've been saying from the beginning. It's unfair, right? It's an unfair law that ultimately harms those who want to take, it harms the unions, and it offers an unfair advantage to those who want to opt out of union membership but still be represented by the union. I see nothing wrong with places being able to, or people being able to choose whether they want to join your union or not. Of course, but that's always been a right? It's the federal government already protects that. It's already a thing. We don't need more of that. Unfortunately, my opinion, unless we have a candidate on the Republican side who is very pro-union, right? Not 100%, because businesses are an important part. And that's the other thing. You don't have to be anti-business to be pro-union. You don't have to be, anti-business, pro-union, pro-business, anti-union. It's not a requirement one way or the other. The two are not mutually exclusive. You can be pro-business and pro-union at the same time because the two need each other. Said this before as well. In order to have a chance of winning the first district and turning it red, I believe that we need someone with a little more labor-friendly policy, someone who understands that. Okay, yeah, Chris, yeah. Union uses his dues to back political candidates he would never support. I understand that. But do you believe that the union should still represent you even though you're not paying your dues? Unfortunately, that's kind of the catch-22 of unions. Check the article out. I think it's a good article. I linked it here. I'm not going to pretend that the unions do everything right. I'm not going to pretend that they don't make mistakes and that there's not some sort of big disconnect between the leadership of unions and the people in the rank and file, because there is. We see it all the time. So I'm going to answer some questions that were sent to me. When am I going to get back to meet and greets? Very, very soon. We have the Indiana back on track thing that I had linked earlier. It's a graphic from the governor and the way that he talked. We're going to set up some. We're going to keep the numbers down initially, but we're going to go more into larger numbers as we're allowed. So it's coming. Just bear with me. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have some more. We're going to have some fun stuff coming up too. We're going to do something a little different, a little more interesting than just your standard meet in the library or whatever stuff. Fun stuff. Maybe we'll meet at the range if they ever open them, right? If they ever open the ranges back up. So do you support Trump? I do. But I don't support anyone blindly, right? Anyone or any ideal other than the Constitution. I have said before, I do take issue with some of the stuff that Trump has said. I don't agree with everything that he says. I disagree with his cave on the Second Amendment. But I do have, I will be supporting Trump in 2020 beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I am certainly not voting for Biden or whoever the left puts in to take his place. Unfortunately, look, regardless of how you feel about his policies, the way that the DNC did him, again, should really tell everyone what they need to know about the process and the DNC in and of itself. Will you work across the aisle? Yes, I will. I think that's like the big issue that we're going to see from the left and the right, certain candidates on each side, is we had this guy, right, that we've talked about before, and the left doesn't even take him seriously. Most of the Democrats don't even consider him a real candidate, Farrar, and how he wishes, Trump supporters basically would be disproportionately affected, were his words, by the CV. And he specifically said that he's not running he's not running to represent, Trump voters. He's running to represent people who agree with him, who think like him. So my big issue with that is whoever actually gets the Republican or Democrat nomination, you do realize that there are a lot of different people in this district, a lot of different views. Some people support President Trump, some people don't. For whatever reason, that's their right. But one thing that I would like to say to those people especially those who really want Trump to fail, who really want him to fall flat on his face, you do realize that the success of this country is tied to the success of the president, right? And vice versa. If the president fails spectacularly, then the country doesn't succeed. That's like Bill Maher, however you say his name, that wanted the economy to tank just so Trump wouldn't get reelected. These people generally, especially the ones who want the economy to tank, that don't care about the hardworking men and women that rely on the economy, they generally have money. They generally have a way to take care of themselves, they don't need the money. They don't care about the economy because they're not directly affected by it, right? Once you have several $1 million in the bank, the prices of things aren't really that big of a deal anymore. You don't have to worry about whether a gallon of milk is $1.98 or $3.75 or more than that. You don't have to worry about whether ground beef is still, $1.99 or, $5.49 a pound. it doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter because you have plenty of money. It's irrelevant. The people that it matters to are the everyday men and women that keep this country running, the bottom of the pyramid, as I've said before. So the other big burning question apparently is, will you make shorter videos? Specifically focusing on individual topics? And the answer to that is yes. I'm working on it. I have a Second Amendment video that is being edited as okay. It looks like we had a little problem there for a moment. Sorry about that. Had some issues today. The internet seems okay, but for some reason my browser is having some problems. I don't know if maybe I'm being hacked. Maybe the Russians are after me. Who knows? So I'm working on some shorter videos, just a couple of minutes long, so that you can get the point really quickly. Not everybody has time to follow, an hour-long nightly stream and all of that. For those who can't watch it, I have SoundCloud as well. But really, it just comes down to, I want to give you as much information about me as you need, right? However much that is. The bottom line on all of this stuff, and whether or not you vote for me or one of the other Republicans, and I do want to make it clear, whoever wins this nomination, I'm going to support, right? I'm going to help them. I'm going to get the message out there. If it's me, they're going to help me. They claim, but I do have an issue with people who claim to represent one thing and represent something else. And if people start to pay attention, I think they'll see what's going on there. We need transparency, right? That's the only way that we're going to get anywhere as a society. We need representatives that are willing to kind of put everything out there. I've showed you my family. I've talked at length, more than most people ever have time to listen. So I think it's really important that we have an understanding of the kind of person that we're going to elect, right? I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I had a flawed understanding of right to work versus at will employment. When I was at ISP, at will and right to work came in at the same time. So I misunderstood. I thought they were both the same thing. They're not. I've since learned. I did the research, but I've always said right to work is unfair for a variety of reasons, and I've showed you why. That's why I don't support it. And the idea behind it, I'm not necessarily against, but the way that it's currently written, I can't support it. Were it to be rewritten to where if you opt out of the union, you're out, right? You're out. You don't get represented. You don't get any help. Hey, that's fine, because you do deserve to be able to choose completely one way or another. There are those places that are completely union, right? 100% union owned. You go in to work there, you have to join the union. Well, without right to work laws, you didn't have that option, right? You just don't work there. There are alternatives. So, but I don't believe that the left is going to allow us to make that fine distinction, right? You either support, and if you do support right to work laws, and I get it. then I just don't think we're going to carry it, right? I just don't think we're going to carry the district. It's D+8. Now we're going to make up a lot of ground, right? Because we got the walk away movement. We've got, the President Trump more popular than ever, especially once the real numbers start coming out. I think a lot of people are going to start to see what's going on there. I don't know, though, that it's in and of itself, unless we have someone that can represent both sides, that can understand both sides. I just don't know that we're going to be able to carry the district. So that's it really for tonight. It's short one tonight. I'm not going to make all of these as long, but I appreciate everybody coming out. And if you have additional questions, let me throw this up here again. We have you can send your questions to talk@dionbergeron.com, and happy to answer your questions on the show. You can visit the website. If you want a shirt or a sign, let us know. More than happy to bring those out to you. We had a couple that we ran out, so we're working on getting some more so we can get you set up out there. You know who you are. So we appreciate it, and I'm gonna go and have some dessert that we also got. So appreciate you. God bless you. God bless the USA.